Hi, it's March 2024, and I'm an Iranian young man who's so much fed up with the government's propaganda media and is gonna try his best to show you how does it really look like here in Iran. Because there's been recently some controversies around what the Iranian women actually wear. So first of all, and probably the most important thing to consider, is the deep, wide gap between the people and the regime. That's why there are activities and clothes that are already accepted by the people but completely rejected by the Ayatollah's theocratic regime. And then the hijab. Hijab is actually a fluid term in Iran and it frankly doesn't have a fixed definition. Thus, what is considered hijab by the morality police officer might not be as well considered hijab by another thug of the morality police whose main job is basically checking on what the hell people wear and how do they wear them. So it basically is enforcing a dress code which hasn't even been defined at the first place. This fluidity in the meaning of hijab means that there's absolutely no rule of law on this issue in Iran, and the regime's actions are mainly based on the dictator's preferences, his mood, and surprisingly the different governmental cartels like the infamous IRGC's intelligence sector that, as this Iranian political prisoner Tumai Salehi perfectly put into words, are above the law.
در مورد اطلاعات هم خواستم این نکته رو بگم که چرا باید یه ارگان بالاتر از قانون باشه. بالاتر از قانون فقط مردمن که اگه قوانین رو نخوان تغییرش بدن، به خاطر اینکه کشور مال اوناست، اون قوانین باید برای رفاه اونا باشن و به جز مردم که هیچ شخص یا هیچ ارگانی نباید بالاتر از قانون باشه. اطلاعات اما بالاتر از قانونه توی ایران. اطلاعات شکنجه میکنه، خودم رو میگم، شکنجه میکنه، غیرقانونی وارد خونه میشه، تخریب میکنه.
After recording this video, the IRGC intelligence sector raped him in the street, beat him to death, put him behind the bars, harshly tortured him. He faced inhumane solitary confinements, and they cut his contact to the outside world as of now. Yeah, stakes are high for the one who speaks the truth. Right, enough with the rant, back to hijab. First and foremost, Iranian women don't wear burqa at all. Yes, you can wear it, and yes, there are some people living under a rock who are still wearing it, but the amount of people wearing burqa is so much low that you can safely say that burqa is not the thing that Iranian women usually wear. But if you go out in the streets of Iran, you're gonna certainly find some people wearing a thing that is very close to burqa, but without that black face mask. It is called chador, and is mostly worn by hardliners and highly religious people. But what is usually worn by the majority is mostly manteau and a scarf which covers the hair, all of the torso, and also pants. No exposed hair, no crop top, no shorts, no swimsuits and beaches, etc. There are some deviations to the manteau, but not a considerable shift from it. So, in order to get a grasp of reality, let's check on some of them. Some women introduced vibrant colors to their manteaus, and their hair is just a little bit exposed. It's still a risk, but a low risk that's usually tolerated by the government, but not always. Like in the case of Mahsa Amini, she was wearing this, and she still got arrested and killed in the custody of the so-called morality police. Citizens living in major cities like Tehran, Shiraz, etc. have also introduced styles like this one, which is still manteau and a scarf, but just another deviation of it. Going out with this outfit is okay in parts of Tehran, and it is not tolerated in the other parts. You can't go to a legal office with these clothes on, and they're not gonna let you inside the universities if you wear stuff like this. But yeah, you can wear them in certain locations and situations, and you can't wear them in the other situations. I know it's ambiguous, but I'm gonna explain what I mean by all this ambiguity in a sec. But at the end of the day, women in Iran must comply to that unwritten compulsory hijab code. They're not allowed to wear clothes like this and this, but this end this. But remember, you'll never know what to actually wear. You're always a potential victim to this type of brutality, even if you try your best to comply. That's how they keep citizens in a constant state of fear. What is clear to me as an unfortunate Iranian citizen is that they must cover most of their hair and they're not allowed to wear shorts or crop tops, and if they even go jogging with something like this, they're surely gonna be in trouble. They're gonna face years behind the bars, lashing, and execution by hanging. Cause this is a life at bay. Speaking of jogging and sports, there are no unisex gyms and they are not even allowed in Iran. And women are not allowed to wear swimsuits in the beaches. Otherwise, they're gonna get arrested. And no one knows what's gonna happen to them actually. They might get beaten to death like Mahsa Amini, or spend years behind the bars, or just let go. Because, as I've already mentioned, all of this is not ruled by law, it is ruled by the mood of the people who are imposing this ideology. But the question is, how do we actually know this while there are no official laws on hijab? Well, you remember those cartels who were above the law? They impose their ideology however they want. They have guns and power. They kill and jail. They even execute political prisoners with fake convictions and forced confessions broadcasted on TV. We've seen men and women facing serious life-threatening issues just because they rejected this unwritten hijab code. That's how there's a hijab law while there's no hijab law. Living in Iran, you gradually get used to it. You're gonna figure out what you can wear and where you can wear them through a conditioning process with trials and errors. If you go to a legal jurisdiction, you will cover up your tattoos. The police is going to react differently to your dress in different neighborhoods. If you want to be able to study in a university, first you want to study the university guards. Yeah, university guards. As already mentioned, hijab doesn't have an exact definition and is highly subjective. The amount of coverage is highly linked to the mood and attitudes of the one who is imposing this Islamic hijab ideology. For instance, there are people at the entrance of each and every university in Iran to check your outfit for whether if it complies to the Islamic codes or not. You wear this, you go to the university, and you get jailed, and you're not allowed to go to the university ever again. And you wear the exact same clothes the other day, and go to the exact same university, and you're good to go. But wait, what about her? Or this other one? And her? Well, as you might have noticed, they're holding the regime's flag and praise its icons, and they also seem to have attended sort of celebration, right? Yeah, it's the anniversary of the regime, and as long as you're propagating the propaganda, you're very welcome. Some of them are even prepaid, like those who cheered for the regime's football team in Qatar. They're there for the regime to spread this message to the outside world that even those who seem to contradict us actually have their hearts to us. But in fact, there are usually few of them in each anniversary, and the rest is, you guessed it, Chaudhry hardliners. Anyway, after the Mahsa movement and the harsh crackdown on it, in which thousands of Iranians were shot dead in the streets and others executed by hanging, some brave women started to protest in a different manner and show their disregard of the regime with the transgression of that unwritten hijab law. As you already know, the exposed hair of women is against the teachings of Islam, and the Muslims are infamous for their intolerance. But Iranian girls still don't hesitate risking their lives by exposing their hair for what is their very human right. It is all in all a constant protest against the regime, a constant protest which sometimes shifts shapes but never stops moving forward. Though it is not that the people just demand for not wearing hijab, but it is one of the ways that is used by women to express their anger toward religious totalitarianism. As far as I can say, considering the awful economic state of Iran and all the other factors of well-being and freedom, what the people really demand is a secular democracy, the rule of law, the separation of powers, and the end of this grotesque Islamic regime. Thanks for watching.
مهاجرت کردن از خونه فراری شدن بی وطن و گم توی یه تونل تاریخ ندیدی زخمی ترین ملت توی جهانیم نگفتی خشم ما توی خیابون براجی وقتی مرگ حق بود ولی زندگی نه وقتی دختر 9 سال هجله میرفت ایران انقدر کشیده بود دیگه حس نمیکرد